My name is Josh Miller. I own Riverstone Kennels, and I've been training gun dogs for more than 16 years. I have field trialed, I've hunt tested, but at the end of the day, I'm a duck hunter. You might find that the duck in our Duck Dogs podcast is spelled uniquely. The UK stands for my British Labs. I love my British Labs. I love what they offer me, both as a part of my family and the high motor in the field. As you're going to find, I have some pretty special dogs. Follow along in our podcast series here as we talk about both in the field hunting and in the field training situations that will hopefully help you progress with your dog at home.
Thank you once again to Eukanuba. Eukanuba Premium Performance Sport 3020 is what I have my dogs on, and I'm definitely seeing the benefits of that food this time of year. We've been training really hard. It's getting hot out. I'm hunt testing on the weekends. I'm asking my dogs to do a lot on a regular basis. This food is allowing them to continue to perform day in and day out at a peak performance level. So if you're looking for a high quality food to put your four-legged hunting partner on, go check out Eukanuba Premium Performance Sport 3020. Also, Lucky Duck. Thank you to Lucky Duck. If you guys have looked at, they have their crates, the 5-star crash test rated intermediate, the 5-star crash test rated large, and now they just came out with a brand new thick orthopedic pad to complement the pad they already had to go in there, as well as a fan. And I love this fan. Go check it out because the time of year, I hate seeing dogs sitting in crates when it's really hot out, no air movement. I mean, do your four-legged hunting partner a favor, do your athlete a favor, cool them down when they get back in that crate. That fan is fantastic. I've used it. Go check it out. And thank you to Gun Dog Supply. Gun Dog Supply is that one-stop shop for all of your hunting needs, all of your training needs, even the products I just mentioned. So go check them out at www.gundogsupply.com. Great people. So I hope everyone had a great week. I'm going to first ask a favor. If you guys have some time, please go give me a 5-star review. I hate asking for that, but apparently these sponsors look at that kind of thing. Who knew, right? So you could do me a big favor by helping me out and give me a 5-star review, leaving me a comment. I really would appreciate that. And apparently the sponsors would as well because they want to see how well people are liking it. So if you could, would really appreciate that. And I want to start off this episode kind of taking a step back and telling you what I've seen. So I've seen a number of dogs, that have been in the kennel. Now the owners are kind of coming. It's that time of year. A lot of owner involvement, and I'm seeing some sheepish. Can't talk today. Some sheepish looks from across the table as they talk, as the owners talk about certain things that I talk about here. So I want to let everybody know the stuff I talk about on here. It's just what works for me. Like, I'm not saying you have to do this. I'm hoping that I give you some guidance and maybe, an aha moment or two that goes, that helps me, or I could apply that. I had a client who has become a friend, Dan. I trained his older dog, Brig, now had his younger dog, who is a bud puppy, Cash in. Cash is going to be an absolute rock star. And he came to pick him up from Bird and Gun Intro, probably late last week, and we were talking about the upcoming hunting season. He kind of put his head down. He's like, "Well, I know you say don't hunt him that first year, but with Brig getting older, and I really want to get him out there." So, like I told Dan, just because it's what I do doesn't mean it's what you have to do. I'm just trying to get the most out of each dog, and sometimes holding them back, I feel like, puts myself in a position to do more for them. So I want to tell you guys a story because I think it's kind of neat. One, I think it's just interesting. But two, I think it's interesting how it made me think about this particular situation, how it could apply. So this last few weeks, full disclosure, has been an absolute grind. You guys have probably noticed I've been a little more erratic on, not hitting. I like to have these drop on Tuesday, but with the weeks that I've had, it's just been very difficult. We're starting before the sun comes up so that we can be training in the field when the sun is coming up. And those early starts, you would think, and I think I talked about in the past how I've wanted that to translate into earlier start or stop times rather, because that frees me up to have my family time. The last couple of weeks, that has not happened. And it has wore on me. It has been long days, baking in the sun, and it gets to you after a while. Of course, the dogs are in and out, and, we're making a bunch of progress, and, clients are coming out, and they're seeing everything, and all that's great. But it's definitely wearing on me. So even just sitting down to record has been a little more difficult. But when I get in my truck and I go home, go into town, go get gas, go get whatever I need, from errands, that is my just take a breath time. I used to use that for, phone calls, and I used to use that for, kind of catch up on stuff that my hands have been too tied up to take care of later, messaging people back, whatever, not while I'm driving, phone calls while I'm driving, right? But it has changed to where I can just step back and take a breath and be like, okay, I don't have to think about dogs at this very second. I don't have to think about clients at this very second, right? I can just drive and just take a breath. And as you guys know, if you follow along, you know that I'm a big sports guy. Love the NFL. And for whatever reason, the business side of sports, especially at the professional level, fascinates me. It's something I keep. I'm not a complete nerd where I'm keeping track of everything, right? But it's just fun for me to kind of keep up on some of this stuff. And so I have oftentimes NFL radio on my Sirius that I'll listen to when I'm driving really wherever. And I got in the truck a few days ago, and I'd had one of those days where it just wouldn't give up. It was super hot. I was just kind of wore down. And I just had Dan, who I just mentioned, come out, and I was realizing that people were taking what I was saying as like, this is how you have to do it. And I was trying to figure out a way of how I could communicate it and mean it like that. So I get in my truck, radio comes on, I'm driving, and I wish I would have caught who this person was, but he was an extremely interesting person to listen to. And so this individual, he had an NFL career. He was an early draft pick, and I was listening to the story. Early draft pick, comes in, you think you're going to have major long career, you think you're going to make tons and tons of money, and, so you kind of live your life accordingly. So he went from thinking he was going to be a mega millionaire to, the football thing not panning out, and going from very wealthy to very broke. I mean, having nothing. And I always think those stories are so interesting because the people that tell those stories are oftentimes humble enough to step back and say, look, I screwed up. This is what happened. And so this individual has started a program for new incoming players that they can enroll in to teach them how to manage their money and how to handle, the stress of what they call stress of, people always asking for money and people all of a sudden wanting to be your friend and, the temptations, that come up. It was very interesting to listen to. But as he was going through and he was, talking about all this stuff, the host of the show asked him, of all the mistakes that you believe that you made, is there one that just stands out? Like why were you doing this? And his response was, well, there's a few of them that do, but the one that I never thought about until after the fact were the flights home. And so he talked about, I think he said that he played in Miami, if I remember right, and his family had lived in Montana. And so he said he would fly about once a week, fly from Miami to Montana because he could. But instead of taking a commercial flight to do that, he would do that on a private jet every week. And what he had said was the cost difference was about a $200 flight versus somewhere in the $15,000 area. And you do that every week. And that is crazy. And the way that he put it was, at the time, 15 grand a week, like, it didn't seem like a big deal. That's a big deal. At least it is to me. And he talked about how that added up and that how he didn't see it and how, it was right in front of him, but it was, looking back, it was to get the most out of his career. He would have done things differently, approached things at a slower pace instead of just going all in. Now, this might be a little bit of a stretch, but I kind of look at the whole holding a dog back in that first season that same way. Because in this example, he went in and he hunted full bore that first season and came out the other end with a lot of problems that he never got to, he never got the chance to correct or fix. And if he would have handled that first year properly, he probably would have had a much longer success window, I'll call it, because I can't speak to his career. Like I said, I can't even recall who the guy actually was. But, the dog side of it, like I'm trying to say, how do we get the most out of our time? And I really think that for me, not hunting them that first year does that for me. Now, for you at home, if you're like, I just cannot not hunt my dog, that's cool. But you're going to have to accept some of the repercussions that come of it. And as long as you know that, there's not going to be any problems. You're probably going to have some bad habits that you have created. You're going to have some holes you're probably going to have to dig out of. There's probably going to be some bad experiences that they are not prepared for. As long as you know that, then it's you. I'm cool with it. It's your dog. Do as you'd like to. But I just think that overly preparing them before you hit the field, I just don't see a lose in that situation. So, for what it's worth, I don't know, I felt like that was kind of a stretch of a story of how those two stories combined. I just thought it was a super interesting story, so I wanted to share it. But as I look at this time of year, it's really what I want to talk about this week. The time of year that we're in right now. Because I love this time of year, and I hate this time of year. And I want to talk about why. I love this time of year because first off, how crazy is it that next week is July? Like, I cannot believe that we are already a week away from 4th of July weekend. That's crazy. But I love the time of year, one, being in Wisconsin, this should be normally our gorgeous time of year. The last couple of weeks have been triple digits, which is crazy. But I love the weather this time of year. I love that we can get a ton of work done. We have long days. We have a lot of opportunity to get work done. Yes, we have to fight the weather when it gets hot. I don't like that as much. But I think as I look at the dog progressions, this is a super fun time of year. Because if you've done your work up to this point, if you have a young dog, you've up to this point done a ton of yard work. You've done a bunch of table work. You've done a bunch of very boring things to lay a foundation. Well, if you've been doing that since April, May, you're probably getting to the point that training is getting a lot more fun. You're starting to work on studied marks. You're starting to extend those marks. You're starting to feel like you are actually training a gun dog. That's fun. Enjoy it. That's what makes this whole thing kind of, jump as far as your enthusiasm level jumps, the dog's enthusiasm level jumps. You're all just having way more fun, which is awesome. But as crazy as it is that we're as close to 4th of July weekend as we are, it's also that crazy to think that we're that much closer to September 1st, which for us and for a lot of people is hunting opener. And if that date is circled on your calendar, as far as that is when hunting season starts, this is why I hate this time of year. Because there's excitement, there's enthusiasm, there is, hey, we've got a lot of this down and we're starting to cook and we're doing really well, and I'm starting to see everything take shape in front of my eyes. Fun for you, for the dog. Great. But this is also the time that people have kind of an oh shit moment and go, oh, we only have 8 weeks left. We only have 60 days left, whatever it is. And then all of a sudden, bad decisions are made. We start pushing too hard. We start going too fast. We start skipping steps because we're trying to reach for a finish line now. We've talked about there is no finish line. Stay on pace. The biggest thing that I tell people this time of year when they're talking about their training, they're like, what's the best advice you can give me right now? It's take a breath. Slow down. It's easy to get excited. It's easy to see the momentum. The ball is rolling. You want to go. That's awesome. But you're going to have to take a step back once in a while. I have a dog right now that, he's a badass. He is everything that you would want. He is everything that you'd look for. And he is going into what would be his first finish test this coming weekend. He would have been until I pulled him. Why did I pull him? Because he started running the bank on the way back. He just started it. Don't know why. He had been great up to this point. Now it's HRC, so you don't get judged on the way back. So I'd probably be fine. I'm not going to allow that habit to start. That would be me trying to go too fast. Would he get a ribbon? Yeah, probably. Would he get a pass? Yeah. Doesn't mean it's what the standard. It's not that he's not at the standard that I want him to be. So he's not going to go. Now, luckily, the owner of this dog is right on the same page as I am. It's not always the case. There are times that I have owners that are like, whoa. This is what I'm paying for. You need to take him to the test. And I, slam my head against the car door because I'm like, I know the work this is going to create. I know the bad habits this is going to create. This is not the right thing to do. Now, most of the time, at this point, my clients are very good about understanding what it is I'm doing. They know I have their end goal and best interest in mind. They know I'm doing it not just to do it. I have a reason, and the right reasons. But if they're not ready, they're not going. Now, I would say, significantly cutting back on my hunt test this year than I had originally planned on, and the biggest reason being is that I just have not been able to hold true to my plan of early starts mean early stops, which means more family time. So the last thing I'm going to do is give up weekends because those are my only family time at this point. So instead of doing 12, we're probably going to do 4. Yeah, it's disappointing, but at the end of the day, it's a ribbon. It's a title. I'm not overly worried about it. But if we're going, the dogs that are running are ready to go. You've heard me say it before. I don't like flipping coins. I don't want to say, hey, let's see how this works out. I want to know how it's going to work out. I want to know before I go to that line how this is probably going to work out. Yeah, it doesn't mean a pass every time. But it means that I was prepared. It means that the dog was prepared. once you excuse me, once you step on that line, you have no correction, you have no control if the dog decides that he doesn't want to be controlled. I mean, what's going to happen is going to happen. You're either prepared or you're not. We're going to be prepared. That dog is prepared. But that is going to snowball into every test we go to, he knows he can't get corrected, which means he's going to run it. I'm going to fix this problem before I put him in that situation. I am, following my own advice, taking a breath. This dog has his whole life ahead of him. We don't need to create an issue by getting him into that test this weekend. It's a test. There'll be more of them. Not a big deal. Take a breath. Slow down. It's just so tempting to go fast. I caught myself doing it probably Tuesday last week. I have dogs. I'm going through a bunch of intro to handling. We're starting our pile work, moving into our lining drills. And as I'm creating memories, I start close and I work my way back. And for a couple dogs, it was like I just want to move faster. I don't know why, but for these couple dogs, I don't know if it's just because I have a little more expectation out of them. I feel like they have a higher ceiling. I don't know what it is, but it was so tempting. Like I caught myself moving too fast, and I would stop, move in. Yeah, it's going to take a few more days. Going at a slower pace than the fast pace. But it's crazy. You go too fast, you can see it. You can see it's not as crisp. You can see they're not as confident. You can see they're not as sharp. Take a breath. So much better than going fast. Slow is always better than going fast. Well, I know it was a short one this week, but I appreciate it. I got to get back out and keep training. I did this over, call it a lunch break. I need to start eating. That's the other thing I need to start doing. I need to start eating. I have not been eating at all, which you guys probably know. Like, you don't eat all day, and then you just have a big dinner, then you feel like junk. And for me, because I'm getting up so early, I do my workouts in the evening, which means it's just So I should probably go try and grab something to eat. Then I'm going to get back out and get working. So appreciate you guys taking this midday break with me. Thank you to Sitka Gear. If you guys have not already, go check it out. Not only hunting stuff. Check out their everyday. You'll stay cooler. You'll stay more comfortable. You'll stay dry. It's awesome stuff. We wear it every single day. www.sitkagear.com. Hope you guys have an awesome, awesome week. We'll talk to you next week. I'll let you know how the test goes. See ya.
Thanks for listening. Be sure to follow us on Facebook and Instagram. Leave us a review on iTunes. And a special thank you to DUK, because without them, we couldn't do what we do here, bringing this information to you.